was able to move back, held onto the orange, I believe, for a long time, got into range. Faker had the quick level 6 to Xiao, who went down, and answering that, and even controlling the minion wave to not lose creep score across the team of SKT.
He's out of mana, but let me get a decent trade. Probably shouldn't be able to kill, but at least forces some more farm to be denied these last few minions will not go to SKT.
And again, let's pull it back, because jungle ganks are exciting. Well, take another look at this one. First, as MLG walks in, Hooney's going to save his orange for the taunt, any extra duration here, but immediately he gets slowed back up.
You can see Faker also only now in position. MLG uses his second Q to get the final bit of damage, so no ability for him to escape, a 1-for-1 overall.
Blank keeping up the pressure here as he invades with Zach. He is level 6, but MLG has Smite and should be able to get in himself. Now, again, pulling it back and slowing it down, while jungle ganks are very exciting, what does it do to the lane matchup? SK Telecom, we talk about those double globals. Faker, with the extra experience, diving that turret, was able to get to level 6 so quickly that he was there before Let Me. He was able to transfer some of that power up to Hooney, the lane that's getting attacked so heavily.
But what you can compliment RNG about is this timing is up. MLG face checks Blank.
2v1 up against MLG, nice knock up there, waiting for the hook as well. Here comes Shen to rejoin the fight as Blank brings it back in towards the team. Faker and Xiao in a 1v1 as well. But they split, Blank in a flawless. He's going to get his health bar dropped to 0 as the chase continues. A quick stun on towards Wolf as they still knock down that kill. Uzi getting first, and there's the Nethergraph to find themselves one more kill. Wolf does not have a way out, and sheepishly he looks as MLXG gets RNG's 4th kill of the game.
Now, Bang is on the run, but he's seen by a ward here, and 3 members.
Oh, the tornado locks up a pin to flash it away. The ulti out of Hooney should be enough to buy some time, and yes, Bang stays in, but a flash down.
Hooney had held on to his ultimate during the initial pick here, hoping to save that global, as this is a very long cooldown, and you need every single extra one in these global plays, but he ends up burning it in the end here as Bang is trying to escape at no cost.
Yeah, Bang doesn't actually come in and get any damage at the start. He's cut off by Ming and Uzi on the bot side. It's just a level 5 Blitzcrank, and also the Zac, they don't have the damage to take down the Sejuani. Faker slows Xiaohu down in transition, but he has the Ghost, and notice, he holds onto the ult, so they know they can confirm a second kill.
And RNG were looking to use the Shen ultimate proactively as early as they possibly could. Let Me did not have his teleport to get back to the lane instantly, so he did lose out on a bit of minions as Hooney tried to push it in, but now both top laners do have their teleports available without the global abilities.
And we just saw the tail end of SKT continuing to try to answer back every time RNG wins a fight. You saw Blank and Wolf in the mid lane. They forced Xiaohu out. He did escape, but that was another attempt by SKT to get kills back.
But answering is a dirty word for SKT with this draft. This draft is not about answers. In the late game, RNG have the answering draft. This is a proactive draft. SKT are supposed to be posing questions. That's why we see them so active on the map in the early game, but they find themselves in a gold discrepancy to a team that outscales them pretty heavily in team fights. So the moment that we see so many more proactive players working for RNG, all the proactive players for SKT fail, that's actually very worrying for SKT fans.
You see, of course, he does have one kill. Sejuani to jump the wall. You saw the possible gank. Create some excitement out of the Chinese crowd here, but there won't be any fights to be had up there. Hooney able to walk through his jungle safely enough. Barrels to check the fog. Says, okay, our red buff's still up, we're okay.
I would also bring up the point that SK Telecom, I don't think they get hard outscaled with this composition. They actually have a lot of scaling factors themselves, and while I do definitely note they will not have probably the Ardent Sensor in this one unless they wanted to force it into something that did not work. But the Gangplank, the Zac, the Tristana, even Galio's tank ability on the front lines, do have very decent options in the late game, even in the face of a Twitch, which RNG will be playing around.
I mean, the late game is also kind of an open term, because people, when you say late game, think late game team fights, and I think out in the open with equal vision, I would take RNG 9 times out of 10, but if you can get a vision advantage, control wards down around Baron, the Baron baits from SKT, the turns from SKT are insane. So there's a field of battle where I think SKT can take great options against RNG, but straight up, I think it's going to be painful for SKT.
There we go. For Bang here in the bot lane. It's going to be a bit of slow spin out of MLXG. Wolf still flashes, does not have an escape path. Gonna be the ulti to land the first stun, but no chase yet because of the Gangplank ultimate. The knockup is here, and now Faker in the fight as well. Will he get anything for himself? He's suppressed, he's got a lot of damage reduction, plus the shield back in, still looking at Wolf, but also an MLXG. Force to flash away, lets bounce, gets nothing. Faker still now running away. Knows he's seen by a ward, the chase in for Xiaohu. Couple more hits will do him in. Voidling's got another taunt in for Faker, but one more shot from Uzi will do him in. The deadly venom is gonna make it happen. One more auto attack, and it's now 5-2 for the home team.
And Uzi is able to get some credit here. A lot of control around the bottom side for RNG. Let me, again, this time he actually has his teleport, but he's just going to save the cooldown. It's more important. No, he's not going to use it. He's going to go get the minions. There goes the teleport.
But guys, it really feels like SKT are disconnected on their damage dealers when they're making these plays, because once again, bang, he felt like he had to use the ult defensively, knocked away two, kept his life up, but after that, it was basically Faker disconnected from his team, unable to really have any follow-up damage, and again, RNG profit.
They're disconnected on the participants of this fight. SKT, there is the option for, early Huni ultimate, and it comes down, but all it really does is get a little bit of damage and zone out Ming, or MLXG here.
And the teleport from Faker, he teleports in aggressively into three members and also Xiaohu cutting off. There's nothing Blank can really do to make anything. There's no chance that Gangplank is going to be a big factor. He has teleport up, he knows not to use it. The ult was his full contribution. SKT were not on the same page in that skirmish.
Gotta say, a great game so far out of RNG. We've seen the analysis online, seen the game so far. Galio is a scary champion to give away, and certainly Faker's doing reasonably well, but I gotta give credit to Xiaohu, putting in the Malzahar, actually keeping up in farm, making the roams happen as well. Same sort of, kill-death ratio to a certain extent as this global Galio with the teleport as well. Xiaohu doing well to hold up against Faker.
Let's see if SK Telecom can try and work around and more involve Huni in their mid-game plan here. He's got his Trinity Force now on the Gangplank, and they haven't really yet been able to successfully use the combination of globals. Faker, meanwhile, is under attack with Blank coming in.
Stun available on Faker, still very tanky. Blank looking to bring two back into the turret. Here comes the re-engage, and they're gonna find the double knockup. Is there enough damage to be dealt? Not just yet, because Uzi is in, and he splits him in a blob. Let's turn him across. Put the hook into the turret. Is there enough for Uzi? Not just yet. The barrier's on, but now shooting at those blobs. Nice TV for Huni. Will keep Blank alive to jump back to safety. Nothing for nothing, but a lot of ultimates burn.
Continued defense here for SKT as they expend ultimates and summoner spells, and the roam here from bottom lane as well to try and stabilize.
There's still a lot of early game priority for RNG, able to make proactive plays against the sort of draft that Misfits faced in game one of their series and got blown away on. SKT took a bit of a gamble, going for a top laner who's strong in the 1v1, but wouldn't have jungle support early, with just the nature of Zac. For now, Huni's been a non-factor, but the non-factor has farmed himself a very decent timed Trinity.
The Trinity Force factor, one of the biggest factors, and I know your favorite.
I wanted to mention it, and I was like, it's my turn to shine. Honestly, you talked about team fight power before, and I would agree 9 times out of 10 I think RNG could win that, but you talk about X factors. Who will answer Huni in a 4 to 5 item scenario? SKT's been winning through Huni's split push. Does Shen beat Gangplank 1v1 late game? I think that answer's no.
And when it comes to win conditions, how many of SKT's wins have been exactly that question for you? The Trundle, or for example, one of his other picks in the top side, the Jace as well. Who will answer Jace or Trundle has been largely how SKT have found footholds and then team fights, famous ones against EDG. It's how they've completed them. So they have the Gangplank. It's different, but it fills the same role.
Here we go, another gank into the top side. Huni does get away from most of the punishment. Gets himself 10 gold with a bullet to the back of the head, and let me shields it up, but is still pushing his turret. Now Blank getting some alone time with the Cloud Drake.
Yeah, a lot of effort from RNG spent towards the top side, and SK Telecom having faith in Huni to disengage and just absorb that pressure. Meanwhile, they take the choice here on the bottom side. In exchange for it, it's going to be a risky dragon take as Uzi comes in.
For a little bit of something, doesn't get hooked in. Now looks for the next fight to be had, but might get knocked up. As Blank wants to run away from this one, doesn't want to get himself into a fight just yet. Let's bounce, pops in, gets over the wall, but a stun lands on the wolf. That could be net flip break. The passive shield pops as well as for the keystone. Flash the wall, staying alive. The flash the chase. A heal comes in. The ulti. Sorry, the silence from across and finds him up. There's the ultimate, and that will be bang silence as the next build, the next chase coming across. They will not yet not get Blake, but a 2 for 0.
You can see Uzi's feeling it, going almost into the base to pick up the next kill. I love the target selection from Xiaohu. He's had a great tournament, but an unheralded one. It hasn't been Xiaohu picking up the solo kills, but so often he's where he needs to be, even against a mid laner who will roam first, and his target selection was the big thing.
Exactly. RNG sticking to the game plan here. The execution on the focus around bottom lane. Continued Shen ultimates coming in to punish these attempts from SKT. Uzi charges in fiercely on the Twitch, knowing that he has Shen ready to arrive.
From there, it looks like SKT will largely get out. Maybe Wolf will be the sacrifice, using Let's Bounce just to jump away. But Wolf has a big enough shield from Courage the Colossus and his passive. He thinks he can live. Notice that Xiaohu is in range to ult many times. He holds on to it until the perfect moment.
Uses his ghost very often here in these bottom lane skirmishes. Yes, he doesn't have a global as Malzahar to get down there, but the ghost is such a low cooldown summoner spell, and he's been using it so frequently that he has been able to be a huge factor in those plays.
Absolutely. The back end of the replay, we saw 2 flashes and a heal, not amount to the kill on Blink, but I want to point out that the Huni split push got first turret gold. Before that fight, Blink got the Cloud Drake as well, and generally first turret plus a Drake worth 2 kills in total. Right, I think SKT went pretty equal in that last fight. Map wide, if you consider that one. Now fighting the bot side, they've hooked in Let Me, but he's very tanky on the Shen. Looking to survive, but getting slowed down. Blink adding more crowd control, but no damage to be had. However, still alone time with the turret.
This is the sort of draft that in many ways should have forced reactive plays. This is the first successful one, where SKT do actually get an objective lead and will answer with, at minimum, the turret and bot lane. They'd love more, but Let Me's pretty slippery.
Number 2, not quite going to land from Wolf. A quick walk away for Let Me, but this turret will fall. Traded on the top side by RNG.
Really the elements that I'm looking at in this game to start to shine here as we get into the mid game and these outer turrets start to fall is the engage from SK Telecom. You talk about the Blitzcrank being a risky pick, drawing away from the Ardent Sensor. That plus a Zac, if you can control vision, those are where they can actually start to open up their game plan and to start to break RNG away from this success that they're finding.
And I like that you talk about controlling vision, a very standard thing as the game has evolved. SKT has a lot more members that can put down vision and not actually be at risk of dying, as they really want to kill Let Me, but so far frustrated. They have basically everyone short of game plan to Tristana happy to face check. They can put down the vision. It's profiting from the vision that so far they haven't been convincing.
Mid turret going to be falling, so RNG going to open up that mid lane first in this game. There's no one really punishing them, and Uzi is going to get solo gold on this as well, so to him for the kill credit there. Of course, you've been seeing that SKT duo shove down to the bot side, but Let Me, thanks to his lane matchups, been able to stack armor and be pretty safe to it.
And SKT have to play to their control ward vision. That's where they have exclusive roam. It was bot side. It was nowhere near mid, not top side either. It was too risky for Faker to walk back into mid, so they have to give up his turret. They want Udi as well.
They land the silence. There's the ultimate oranges pop, but doesn't have anywhere to go. The barrels might not matter. Uzi on a killing speed, 3-0-1 for 2. Close enough.
The transfer of power here for RNG. They find another kill, and Uzi purchases the Infinity Edge. That combined with the Hurricane mean that RNG are very much looking to punish.
And Huni's committed to what feels increasingly like zombie pushing, returning to lane, appreciating that, yep, I'll probably die, just like he did so many times split pushing with Jace without vision, with Trundle without vision. He knows he has to create pressure. Many other teams kind of left him to his own devices. We had, say, Cho'Gath teleporting out of lane, trying to make teamfight wins. RNG are just going towards Huni, and he's increasingly falling down.
And the reason we're highlighting Vision now, and we need to elaborate, is that, you know, Blitzcrank and Zac, these are some of the picks that gain the most out of that fog of war and out of that surprise, the couple of seconds of reaction time that you lose of any champions in the entire game. But it starts to crumble when you don't have that pressure to work with and the setup.
And if you think about it, we talked about where the vision was. They're trading red sides, and that means that RNG as a blue side team will be able to put down deep vision for Baron setups, potentially see the Zac and also the Blitzcrank setting up and remove any options for SKT to play around the Baron. It gets much more predictable when the Baron dance starts if SKT cannot control their red side jump.
We'll see where the wards go for this one. Bang, of course, on the back foot, clearing out mid. Let Me getting alone time for a couple of seconds, but here comes Huni. Dodges away the barrel damage. Looks like the wave clear not going to be yet enough, and Huni going to back off the turret, give it away, and Let Me going to make this now 4-2 in turrets, 8-2 in kills. And RNG looking very good so far in this series. As we've seen for these teams overall in the tournament, it's usually been slow early games, then both of them turning on a bit more later. RNG so far in control early and maybe late game a bit more debatable.
I mean, a lot of the good options for SKT right now are a bit null because of item advantage. Uzi's 2 items on Twitch against Tristana. So Tristana right now is still very much in the scaling phase. The Galio's top lane pushing out. They're trying to find free farm for all their carries. It's a very gold-intensive lineup for SKT to get online. But RNG is setting the pace, and they're trying to quicken it with the Rift Herald in mid lane.
You can see we're at the 21-minute mark. Not usually when the team starts really breaking open the game for RNG at Worlds so far, but looking at the mid lane, of course, that breaks back door. Half HP on that one. They're going to zone out Bang and one with the slow field out of Uzi's Twitch. And the jump comes in for Blank. He wants the fight, and he actually lands on a Uzi, but no connection on Q2.
That is an incredibly important summoner spell for SKT to have blown, though, because let's transition into a bit of the bigger picture as we're looking at 5-on-5. Uzi is obviously going to be the main target, and Huni has the armor penetration. Oh, never mind, we're going to have a fight.
One ulti pop, but doesn't find much to do. Wolf going to flash away. He's afraid of Xiao, who's catching. He's not going to flash forward. The ghost burned, though, by the Malzahar.
There are so many things that Uzi has to keep his eyes on. Without flash now, Gangplank barrels, plus the Blitzcrank, plus the Zac initiations with Galio on his back. But now, they're going to start up this Infernal and burn it down.
And it's going to be a freebie for the side of RNG. The cross maps from RNG have been so picture perfect this game. They took control of the top side, denied Huni from having space to farm. Now he's only got an inhibitor turret to play around in the top side. And when SKT are finally like, okay, crap, let's get the red side control. We've been denied this entire game. The Infernal Drake has spawned. RNG have moved their maps. And wherever RNG have gotten on the map, that's where advantages have been piled on. And SKT, who want to go for this AoE wombo, the Gangplank ult to start it all, Zac and Galio jumping in, they've never really found their timings. They've been a bit inconsistent with when to use their ults. They're quite long cooldowns the moment they commit, and they're melee champions that hard commit. They haven't found their timings, and RNG, they're stacking up those advantages.
We have to see if RNG will be as controlled, as dedicated as they further this game. Now invading onto SKT's red quadrant.
Find the stun on Blank, and he times the ulti pretty well to kind of get away from the stun. Can't be disabled as he jumps away. Seems all right for himself. Red buff fight going in, wants to go to Bang, but the smite fight going to be in. MLXG gonna grab it away and take that out from Tristana. And with an impending team fight over Baron, you have to assume that's a power loss that Bang didn't want to have.
Yeah, an invader's advantage always with the smites, and every time you see one of those AoE engage ults used defensively, Twitch can move slightly further ahead, be more risky with his positioning. No QSS yet, but probably coming at some point for Uzi. Uzi's looking relatively safe, even though the drop from SKT was about anything but.
Nice little fight there. Unless getting himself a 70 gold as Figure has the last hit, but the rest of the camp gotta go to SKT's mid laner against Still. We talked about the fact that Baron controls the name of the game at this point in this one. 4 minutes to the next Drake. MLXG on top of the ward, sees Blank go back and forth. He tries to get rid of some of this vision. Shahu here to join, though. Will they go for the trigger pull? Not just yet. Lots of magic resist on this Zac. Makes it hard to kill him.
It's important for RNG to keep threatening vision here. Okay, let's hold that point.
Broke off the pass. The hook back in. They're going to knock him down. Shahu has fallen. Was left alone with the team nowhere near. Not quite the chase to be had, but 1-0 SKT.
This is why you question, will they be as controlled when keeping up the pressure on SK Telecom? This isn't the hugest casualty, though. RNG give away a kill and some gold. Yes, that's great for SK Telecom, but they don't give up much territory, much control of the map, as Let Me is continuing to pressure on this side, and Uzi's even joining. They may get some power damage.
And that was the first time Huni actually teleported to join a fight at 24 minutes. Let Me did not counter-rotate. SKT got no objectives from that. That's why you can see them getting angsty, because they only got a kill. They only went for 2 to 3 kills on the scoreboard. They didn't really cement their position on the map at all, except for starting to clear out some of the aggressive red side wards that RNG had previously put down.
Go. Attempts continue. Nice little bit of stun damage. And the turret going down. Nice last hitting by Ming. Getting himself some credit there. He's got a kill as well, so beatable stuff out of the Janna. A true star guardian in this game. And gonna drop out some wards. Nope, gonna leave that one up for now. Knows he's in some risk. Saw what happened to Xiaohu about a minute ago and says, that jungle is a bit afraid. Still, 6,000, 5,500 gold lead for RNG right now. A sizable, meaningful lead so far, 20 minutes in. I've yet to see those explosive fights for a few minutes from them, but they've got very nearly that 3-item Twitch here for Uzi. He's got the money he needs to turn that one into a static ship, or whatever the item's going to be for himself.
They have the items. They also have the forward-facing wards here. A lot of the deep vision is actually even being defended as they keep up the pressure while allowing Uzi that back. Now that 3-item Twitch is perfectly primed here for RNG to bait SK Telecom into a bad situation where Hootie finds himself even losing very heavily the trade with Let Me.
I mean, you take the right trade when you have this build, Sunfire Cape and also Titanic Hydra, the more aggressive of the tank items, and you can do very well against the brittle Gangplank. I want you guys at home to note, though, that while we're seeing a lot of things happen on the map, RNG keep pushing up, they're not taking extra objectives just yet. The inner turret's harder objective to take in the bot side. So if SKT can find their footing, actually cement some items onto their carry, that's not what they drafted for, but right now it's kind of the best case scenario. So SKT are on defense and just right now trying to get their carries to team fight level.
Also, never underestimate the damage Gangplank can put out later in the game. I kept talking about the things Uzi has to watch out for. There's huge burst damage that can come if RNG are walking into SKT territory.
See if we get the next play going. Not just yet. Blink gonna back out of turning off the Frost Armor. MLXG gets some of that ward control for himself. Taking a quick look, and yeah, much better vision in this side of the jungle for RNG.
I mean, some of those team fights are going to be so visually noisy for Uzi to respect. You think of the times that, say, for example, Orianna Ball is like hidden and you just miss it and you're on top of a shockwave. Gangplank Barrel is pretty instant. Is the sort of thing also that can surprise out of nowhere and do 600 to 800 damage. So I take your point, Kobe. Uzi has been on form, has been a wonderful team fighter this tournament, but this is a different style of comp than he's had to deal with previously.
Definitely true. Ming's abilities will be put to the test as well. Will we be able to time that knockback to disengage some of SKT's Uzi dive that they'll be attempting here? Right now, though, they've got control wards to work around and baiting the Baron.
And SKT don't know where Twitch is the majority of these fights. He's 3 items. They cannot opt into a fight where Twitch is free hitting. The Baron's at half health.
Ooh, the Satchel Plant gone as well, but MLXG forced to disengage this one. RNG gonna flash in for this. They find the slow, but there's no real catch to be had on a bang. He is safe. They trade ult for ult, though, as Baker joins in. Now Uzi finds Hootie. Nearly gets rid of him, trades out the ultimate himself, and is healing back up.
And all of that was without Let Me coming on Stand United. RNG were just poking there to try and get cooldowns away from SKT. Look at those AoE ultimates now, Papa. The Gangplank ultimate is used, the Galio ultimate is used, and RNG still have pressure.
But they did lose Spray and Pray out of Uzi. That's probably the single most important skill in the entire game is, does Uzi have the R button? At this time, it's no. He traded it for Hootie's flash.
But argue he traded it also for the last of the inner turrets in the side lane. So now top lane and bot lane is bare. In terms of those turrets, you're right, RNG probably can't start up Barons, they can't turn up, but they could look for a gap.
Other important skills could include Xiao, who's Nethergrass, but looking for this one now as they look to take down Digger, who is alone and does not have an easy way out. The rest of the team coming in now as Blank joins the fray, but the ulti pop means the damage is going to be there. MLXG getting his 3rd kill, 9-3 Royal.
Killing a full health Galio, full hit through his Gargo's stone plate as well. Again, Zhao, who holds onto the ult till the exact precise time. In all of this, Let Me is still split pushing. SKT are torn over whether to fight topside, cement their vision around Baron, or try to stop this split push. There's only bad options for SKT.
Well, again, a trade out of Let Me, taking some damage on the Hootie. Look at the barrel fight, wins it this time as the Shen. And he's going to be able to kite away from easy barrel chains here. Faker does have TP plus his ultimate. He can get back to those fights when he respawns.
Exactly. That's why RNG have to, again, be controlled in pressuring their advantage here. Because SKT still have teeth.
I like this look. You can see MLXG looking like he's playing for vision control, not yet starting the Baron, but of course already on the half HP. Redemption to reset to buy some time. They try to knock out Blank. The stun is there, but he's not done in time to block despite the ulti from Ming. That's going to secure. No, he flashes in, but still despite too early from Blank. The kill, though, as Uzi has dropped the fight, re-engaged. Wolf's going to drop 4v4. Hootie on the chase. He lands the barrel. Xiao, whose days are numbered, and they're going to trade 1 for 1. Current health bars being a 3 versus 3 on the map. The ulti coming in for Faker, going to keep Blank alive a bit longer. MLXG to re-engage, only gets the cell to vision, though. And he's going to get his health right back up and multiply it a little bit longer. Let Me over the wall. No, the AoE comes in time. MLXG aims at the Bloblets, and now Faker in 1v2. Let Me hear the taunt. Blocks out the Just Punch as well. The stun going to land as well when they need it to buy a bit more time in a Faker. Bang, though, coming back in, and he has seen an award. There's no more chase.
The support here from Bang coming in. He's going to buy Faker a ticket out of that fight, but RNG do not care. They got the Baron, and they got several kills here in the crazy aftermath. Let's take another look at how it all happened.
And remember, on Zac, you have multiple ways to get out the pit. It's not just the E or the flash. You have ult as well. It's uninterruptible. He actually gets in with the flash in smite range. First Smite doesn't get it, Sejuani 1 does. They take the fight, but notice that the Twitch is assassinated at the start, but Bang is so low that he really doesn't do DPS. After he rocket jumps away, you can see, falls down to 50 health.
Exactly, that was incredibly close to being a kill there. And as you said, the Smite was also incredibly close for SK Telecom grabbing that one, but MLSG holds onto it, Nerves of Steel, and he was able to secure it as well as the kill on the Blank.
Really nice thing out of MLXG as well. You saw, yeah, of course, Uzi not happy he died, but they got the Baron at least.
But those positives were with Uzi dying so early on for RNG. You can look at the damage dealt.
Knockup to be had. He's going to pull him back in as well. The hook not going to land, though. That was 100 units away, and the re-engage in. Blank does not have the passive, but MLXG does not have any health bars left, and he's going to fall down. The shutdown kill goes over to Huni. The chase in for Faker. Can he get the next one? No. 1 for 0 still.
Malzahar even going for a walk top side, so they're not going to reset any lanes. They've lost the Drake and Barons. There's no big objectives to take. SKT, with this overwhelming engage, from time to time have picked up the kills, but it hasn't stopped the story. The narrative that's spinning here is still RNG, always being first to push, and SKT react, and that means that this Twitch, it feels like a matter of time till he explodes in a team fight, the way Uzi has so many times this tournament.
RNG with the 9,000 gold lead, the extra Infernal Drake boosting their DPS as well. Here's another look at Blank's engage though, as he was able to find Uzi, but Wolf on Blitzcrank not able to get the follow-up. So the priority target gets back out and still can kill the DPS. Meanwhile, SKT get their kill onto Sejuani, and that puts a stall to this Baron pressure RNG were looking to utilize.
And it was all over a blue buff. At this point, it feels like SKT are going to take any fight they can, where they're not walking on wards, where they're not being with early warning signs for the side of RNG. Any fight is golden for the side of SKT, but they don't win any fight. They need the perfect one. Faker being able to zone Uzi's damage away from his carries is what a one-team fight for SKT begins with.
They get in 3 items for Bang himself. Faker pretty tanky. Huni's got his armor penetration as well. He can do some level of tank busting. RNG, of course, able to stack purely armor. You see only a Spectre's Cowl really as magic just items on the squad. They know the carries are Gangplank and Tristan, a very physical focus there. 8,000 gold separates these squads. RNG have been in control for almost all of it. They got first, but they never really let go. Up an Infernal Drake in stats as well. Now looking into the top jungle. Into the mid lane, they found Fig, but a lot of time his body looks back towards Uzi. Barrier used, the shield's in as well. The hook not clicking to land either from Wolf. Can't quite land those. And as they disengage, the flashbang in! They've caught Uzi! The reset is not going to be enough for Big, and Bang gets us the kill! And now the re-engage, the chase forward. One more time will find Let Me. The chase in for Blank as well. Faker dangerously low, but still limping away, staying alive. The pull back in for Blank means a second. Let Me just barely staying alive with his shield though, as you've got MLXG holding the front line, tries to pump the randoms for a slow, and it will force a disengage. Only one casualty.
SKT find themselves some more time though. They kill the key member. How many times have we talked about SKT and comebacks? So many times, multiple years, and Faker here is able to find the re-engage onto the Prime member.
Able to kill Uzi through Mikhail's as well. Mikhail's used in that particular fight, so not able to keep the Prime carry up. That was the fight, that was the pick SKT was looking for. It gets them the outer mid lane turret. Took 35 minutes just to get that first objective.
What an exciting opener to this series. You know, RNG with this huge lead and looking like they're going to take it. But here goes another look. Uzi walks up onto Faker and he gets the first hit, but Faker's going to end up with the last.
And it's Galio, right? So he's able to be this far out. You know he's not going to go down instantly. The cavalry arrives from SKT. Uzi does take one of those barrels we were talking about. Doesn't spot it through all the noisy team fights with different skills he has to avoid. And that slow is enough to start the CC chain for SKT.
Then they've got the chase here. The low health members of SKT trying to balance because they know the main DPS threat is gone. And they're trying to skirt that line to get a bit more out.
Papa Smith, you talked about Malzahar being a tank shredder to a certain degree, but honestly, Faker able to stack Magicus very well, and Adaptive Helm itself is an efficient item against a Leandri's user, a dot user like Malzahar is. It's honestly not easy to get through Faker himself, so was able to wade back and forth pretty cleanly. Props to him.
I said the best of the bunch. Obviously, Galio famous for being unkillable. There are still times when one person is isolated. If they get the full duration, if he's sitting on the puddle, you can actually take down the Galio. But of course, it's not going to be definitely not going to be zero sum in this game. It still is tricky to engineer.
It is. We're going to see the chase further towards Let Me. Nice dodge, so it gets away from one of the parlay shots. 7,000 still remains the gold difference, and the question becomes, do you trust momentum where SKT started to find a couple of picks, or do you still trust the 7,000 gold lead 4-item Twitch from Uzi?
I actually start to look back and think how the teams got here, and consider that RNG played the longest quarterfinals of any team here, 45-minute average game time. They were not necessarily winning all those games at 30 minutes, but their late game team fighting was crisp. SKT also passed that test. They had many great comebacks as well. We expect this game to go long. RNG have tried to increase the pace of it. The last couple of picks haven't worked.
They're again looking at Xiao, who their ulti pop to get the Shen ulti out, and the team's going to run back away, but Letme will find the one-man taunt. Wolf going to be the target, and here comes Faker. It's going to be the early disengage to Xiao, who blockets the shield pump. They still will not fly the bang, and the team just picking them all off. The Twitch getting all of them. Double kill already. Looking for the next point, but still forced to disengage. Now Faker jumped on the wall to stay alive.
SK Telecom not finding value with this Blitzcrank pick. Wolf goes in, fails to get the priority target, and then he's sitting bait right here. Uzi finds the kill, opening up onto Bang.
Yeah, Uzi actually able to get off the flank. He died in the wombo of the Galio engage pick before. This time skirts around, kills, and assassinates Tristana, and they want to love this base right now.
Teleport buys a few seconds, still in for the push backdoor going. It's going to be dropped off all the same. 30, 20 seconds of the respawn for the major carry. It will be Inhibitor, then out. Elder Dragon, Baron, both alive.
RNG gonna reset here and travel back to that Baron pit you're talking about. They could just be setting it up for the Vision, or they could actually bait more out of SK Telecom. Bang is reviving now, so he'll be able to walk from base to try and join, but RNG rushing it down.
Rushing down the Baron, no ulti available for Uzi if there is a fight to be had, but no one is even close to in range. Let me an easy recall. There's the pickup for RNG.
And SKT trying to get Elder and rush it down, but there's no Tristana here. So the speed is not that fast, and the redemption, just a check.
Teleport coming in from Shen. He'll have the flank onto Bang here to try and come from behind.
Let's see if they get this fight in time. Baron buff on. The ulti's still not there for Uzi. Going in for the fight. It's going to be picked up by RNG. Picking them all up now. The fight to begin. Looking for the kill. One already gone as Bang has lost his life. The flash forward for Uzi. Doing it the best he can. And now the passive gone as Faker. Now isolated, suppressed. And there's the Malzahar damage we needed. 3 kills already for the Chinese squad. Looking for a 4th as the slow lands a perfect range for Let Me. And Uzi is here, and the Wolf is gonna be falling. Uzi gets himself another 6 kills the game. Mid lane under fire.
RNG gonna walk it up the mid lane here to the Nexus turrets.
And they're gonna have it. The celebratory channel just for good measure, but Huni cannot possibly stop this onslaught. 38.5 minutes. Game 1 is done. RNG need 2 more.
This win means so much for RNG. And guys, the reason why I say that is not just the fact that they went up 1-0 against SKT. They actually went up 1-0 in both their best of 5s last year. But it's the fact that RNG stuck to their convictions. What were they good at? Late game team fights. They went for the Twitch Janna. They did not care about giving up Galio, about giving up the early to mid game. Their read was, if it goes long, we will win. And their read was correct on the day, at least for game 1. And the confidence that will bring RNG, it's indescribable.
The question we pose to SKT coming into this match, would they be able to push RNG off of what we've seen from them this entire tournament?
They tried.
They tried, and they failed. It does bring back memories of Chicago, though,
Yeah,
where
sure.
RNG again opened up with the victory.
I mean, we've seen these series almost all go the distance. These games have been close almost the whole time through the quarterfinals. There is still life in SKT, we know.
RNG is in SKT's head. They're playing blank for the